commercial tenant versus a residential tenant is typically a more creditworthy entity. Although you could have a very wealthy individual renting, the typical net worth of an individual is not nearly as high as the typical net worth of a corporation. So, for example, if you get Google as a tenant, you would probably want to have them more than a mom and pop individual name, you know, Bill Smith as your tenant. So yes, creditworthiness is a very big part of why commercial tenants are attractive to a landlord. Then the demands of a commercial tenant and the needs are different. Well, when we borrow money for an office building, we go out and get a mortgage. The mortgage lender will look at two things. They're going to look at, or they'll look at several things. They'll look at how occupied the building is. What is the gross rent and the net rent after operating expenses that you're able to generate from your leases? How strong the credit is behind those leases. So an extremely weak situation would be if you had a tenant that was nearly in bankruptcy. They only have a year left on their lease or 2 years left on their lease. That's the antithesis of, let's say, having Google lease your building for 20 years for the whole, and let's say it's a lease for the whole building. I mean, those are the two extremes on opposite ends of the spectrum. The creditworthiness, the length of the lease determine whether you can pay interest on the loan to the mortgagee, and the length of the lease and the credit also determine whether at the expiration maturity of the loan, you will be able to find a replacement lender, or you'll be able to sell the property to a third party, thereby paying off the mortgagee. So the mortgagee is concerned about current cash flow to pay interest, but they're also concerned about the likelihood of being, quote, taken out, meaning being paid off.